Power is silent. Influence doesn't announce itself, it's just felt. There's something about a Sigma female that you can't quite put into words. You don't spot her because she's loud, flashy, or trying to prove a point. You notice her because something about her presence just stays with you. She doesn't demand attention. She simply doesn't need to. And that's exactly why she gets it. Men can sense when they're in the presence of a woman who knows herself, a woman who isn't chasing moments or begging to be seen. Sigma females move through life differently. They're not rebels for show. They don't need a label to feel strong. What sets them apart is how deeply rooted they are in who they are. They think before they speak. They see more than they say. And while others are trying to be liked, they're busy being real. If you're a Sigma female, know this. Your quiet strength is not invisible. It's unforgettable. Some will misunderstand it, some will fear it, but those who matter will respect it because they'll feel the weight of your presence even when you say nothing. You're not behind anyone. You're not less than anyone. You're simply not made to follow a script that was never written for you. Keep moving how you move. Keep thinking how you think. The right people won't just notice you, they'll remember you long after you've left the room. Now let's talk about what exactly men notice first, and why they can't ignore it. Let's get started, the rare gems. Number 1. She doesn't perform for the male gaze. There's something unshakably powerful about a woman who doesn't flinch under observation. Men don't always realize what they're seeing at first, but they feel it. It's in the way she moves without checking to see who's watching. It's in how she chooses her words without trying to impress. She exists in her own lane, on her own time, with no performance attached. Most women, whether they know it or not, adjust themselves when men are around. It could be in the tone of voice they use. It could be in the way they smile a little more than they normally would, or how they soften their posture just enough to seem more likable. It's subtle, but it's common. Sigma females don't do this, at all. She doesn't soften her truth to make it easier for men to digest. She doesn't play small to protect their egos. She doesn't over-explain to come across as agreeable. She just is. And in a world where so many people perform for acceptance, that kind of raw presence hits different. Men aren't used to a woman whose energy doesn't bend to meet theirs. And it can be jarring. Some are drawn to it instantly. Others don't know what to make of it, but all of them notice. What they feel is a sense of stillness that doesn't ask for permission, a quiet steadiness that isn't there to entertain. That's what makes her unforgettable. Her sense of self is so rooted that no amount of attention can sway her. No compliment shifts her identity. No flirtation derails her focus. She knows that her value isn't something to be proven, it's something to be lived. That's why her presence lingers. That's why men don't just see her, they remember her. Because nothing is louder than a woman who refuses to perform. Number 2, she makes eye contact like she's reading you. When a Sigma female locks eyes with someone, it doesn't feel like she's trying to be polite or cute. It feels like she's gathering data. Her stare isn't warm for the sake of comfort. It's direct, clear, and unapologetically focused. Men can't always explain it, but they feel it. That look makes them wonder if she already knows more about them than she should. She doesn't use her eyes to flirt or to fish for attention. That's not her style. Instead, she observes, carefully, quietly. She pays attention to what others try to hide. The slight twitch when someone's lying, the delay in a forced smile, the subtle drop in energy when someone's not being real. Her gaze doesn't ask questions out loud. It answers them silently. And here's the part that really catches men off guard. She doesn't look away first. She doesn't look down. She doesn't fidget or shy away. She holds that gaze until you start to feel the pressure, not because she's trying to dominate, but because she's genuinely studying the situation. She's figuring you out. Not for approval, but for understanding. This kind of eye contact isn't something people are used to. Most people either avoid it or use it to charm. She does neither. What she gives is focus without intention to please. That level of presence is rare, and when a man feels it, it can shake something in him. He realizes quickly that he can't just perform around her. He's being seen, really seen. Some find it thrilling, some find it unsettling, but no one forgets it, because her eyes don't invite you in. They challenge you to show up honestly, and that challenge, that silent pressure to be real. It's what separates her from everyone else. It's what makes her unforgettable. Number 3. She doesn't laugh to be liked. Most people laugh to smooth things over, to seem easygoing, to be liked. But a Sigma female doesn't give her laughter away just to fill space or make someone feel comfortable. If she finds something funny, she'll laugh, genuinely, freely. But if she doesn't, she won't pretend. And that honesty, it changes the whole dynamic. Men notice it almost immediately. They're used to women who offer polite chuckles, who play along even when the joke falls flat, who laugh just enough to keep the ego untouched. But when that doesn't happen, when their comment is met with a quiet stare instead of forced amusement, it hits different. Not in a cruel way, just in a very real way. With her, laughter has weight. It means something. You can't win it with a cheap line or half-hearted wit. You've got to earn it. And that's where the pressure kicks in. Not because she's being cold, but because she values authenticity over politeness. She's not here to make anyone feel falsely validated. She'd rather be quiet than pretend. And that silence, that moment of, wait, did I not land that? It makes men either step up or back off. It weeds out the ones who need approval to feel confident and highlights the ones who can hold their own without needing a reaction. It's not about being hard to impress. It's about respecting herself enough not to fake emotions just to make someone else feel good. She's not withholding, she's just honest. And in that honesty, men find both challenge and respect. Because when she does laugh, when she lets go and shows real joy, it feels like a win, a rare one, the kind that doesn't come from trying too hard but from actually being real enough to connect. With her, nothing is automatic, not even laughter, and that's what makes it powerful. Number 4. She commands space without competing for it. There's a difference between taking up space and owning it. A Sigma female doesn't stomp her way into attention or wrestle for recognition. She doesn't raise her voice to cut through noise or force her presence into the room. Yet somehow, without doing any of that, she ends up being the one everyone pays attention to. She doesn't dominate with volume. She dominates with certainty. Not the kind that needs to prove anything, but the kind that comes from knowing exactly who she is. She doesn't chase control. She doesn't try to outshine anyone. But her energy has weight to it. It's grounded, solid, unshaken. Men pick up on that immediately. They feel that she's not performing, not pretending, and not adjusting herself to make others more comfortable. She doesn't have to. There's nothing artificial about her presence. And because it's so rare to see someone that at ease with themselves, it pulls people in without trying. She's not interested in power plays or petty competition. She doesn't speak over others to be heard. She just speaks when it matters. And when she does, people listen. Her confidence isn't wrapped in noise. It's in her stillness, in her timing, in her refusal to force what's already hers. And that's what throws people off, especially men who are used to showy strength. She doesn't need to push for space because her very existence already owns it. She's not loud, but she's present. Not aggressive, but unmistakably dominant in her own quiet way. She isn't trying to be more, she just refuses to be less. And that quiet power, that natural authority, it's not something you can fake or copy. You either have it or you don't, and she has it in full. Number 5, she doesn't need you, and that's what makes you want her. Here's the brutal truth. The more she doesn't need you, the more you feel drawn to her. Not because she's playing hard to get, not because she's trying to stir up desire through distance, but because her self-sufficiency is real. She doesn't drop hints, chase attention, or measure her worth by who stays or who goes. She's full on her own, and that kind of freedom is both rare and unforgettable. You can feel it in the way she makes decisions. She doesn't wait around for anyone to tell her what's next. She doesn't need someone to complete her story. She writes her own and invites people in only if they add to it. That energy? It's not arrogance. It's not detachment. It's self-respect in its most grounded form. Men often expect women to lean in, to reach out, to show some sign that they're waiting. But when they meet a Sigma female, that pattern breaks. She's not waiting for anyone. She's building, evolving, living. And whether you show up or not, she's moving forward with or without you. That level of emotional independence isn't just powerful. It's intimidating, because it means you can't buy her attention. You can't win her over with charm alone. You have to show up fully. You have to meet her at her level or risk being left behind. And that's exactly what makes her so magnetic. She's not hard to love, she's just impossible to possess. You don't get to control her, define her, or shape her. You either stand beside her as she is, or you watch her walk away without a second glance, because she doesn't need you to be whole. And somehow that's the very thing that makes her unforgettable. Number 6. She knows she's being watched and uses it strategically. A Sigma female is never unaware. She knows when eyes are on her. She can feel the weight of the gaze, the curiosity, the assumptions. But instead of shrinking under it or performing for approval, she does something most people don't expect. She redirects it. She controls it. She decides what you get to see and what stays off limits. Men notice this immediately, even if they can't quite put it into words. There's something about her presence that feels intentional. Not in a way that screams, "Look at me," but in a way that says, "I know you are, and I'm fine with it, but only on my terms." That shift in power catches people off guard. They thought they were observing her, but really, she's the one setting the scene. She's not trying to seduce. She's not trying to provoke. What she's doing is far more powerful. She's staying in control of her own narrative. If she gives you a smile, a glance, a pause, it's not random. It's a conscious choice. And that precision can feel disarming, because it means you're not watching a performance. You're witnessing a strategy. This doesn't come from insecurity or the need to manipulate. It comes from self-awareness. She understands how people look at her, how assumptions are made, how quickly people create stories about who she is, but instead of reacting to that, she uses it, not to deceive, but to protect her power. Men who are used to being in control of the dynamic often find themselves slightly off balance around her. They realize they're not in the driver's seat. She is, not by force, but by choice. And that's the beauty of it. She's not begging to be seen. She's choosing when and how to be visible. And that kind of awareness, that silent control over attention, it's not just impressive, it's unforgettable. Number 7. She's a puzzle that refuses to solve itself. Men are often drawn to mystery at first, a little unpredictability, a bit of silence, something they can decode. But with a Sigma female, that intrigue doesn't fade, it deepens. And that's what unsettles them. She doesn't explain herself. She doesn't offer disclaimers for her silence, or soften her sharp edges just to make someone feel more comfortable. There's no convenient "about me" guide to help anyone figure her out, and she won't walk you through her story either. If you're looking for answers, you'll have to sit in the unknown, and most people aren't built for that. The Sigma female is a walking contradiction, deeply present yet emotionally untouchable. She might share a moment with you that feels intense, real, unforgettable, only to pull back with the same calm she showed up with. Not because she's playing hot and cold, because she's complex. Because she guards her inner world like something sacred. Because she knows that once people believe they understand you, they stop respecting your depth. That's why she doesn't lay it all out. She lets people wonder, not out of cruelty, but out of self-respect. Some things aren't meant to be simplified, and she refuses to shrink herself into something convenient just to be liked. Men remember her, even if they only met her once, because she stays unsolved. Not confusing, just not easily explained. And that alone is enough to haunt someone's memory. She never tries to be mysterious. She simply is. Because she's not rushing to be known. She knows exactly who she is, and she's not afraid to keep parts of herself for herself. Number 8. She's not flattered by attention. Most people are used to attention feeling like a win. A compliment lands, someone lights up, the energy shifts. But with a Sigma female, that dynamic breaks instantly. You could tell her she's beautiful. You could say she's unlike anyone you've ever met. She'll hear you, maybe even nod politely, but you won't get the response you were hoping for. She doesn't glow just because someone noticed her. That's not how she's wired. Men pick up on it fast. Their attention doesn't buy access. This isn't a woman who's been waiting to be seen. She's been seeing herself all along. She knows who she is. And she doesn't need outside validation to hold on to that truth. She's not dismissive, and she's definitely not cold. She's simply not moved by surface-level gestures. Compliments that might work on someone else? They land differently with her. Not because she's trying to be difficult, but because praise doesn't hold weight unless it comes with substance. She doesn't dress for compliments. She doesn't speak to impress. She doesn't shape herself to be more likable. So when someone offers her attention with the expectation that it will win her over, she stays still, calm, unshaken, not because she's unimpressed by you, but because she's not impressed by attention itself. And that subtle shift in power, it flips everything. Men who are used to being the center of someone's excitement suddenly find themselves in new territory. She's not biting, she's not reacting, and that forces them to rethink how they engage. If you want to matter to her, you have to go deeper. You have to be real. Anything less will fall flat, and she'll let it. She doesn't need the spotlight. She is the spotlight. And if you think your gaze is a gift, you're already a few steps behind. Number 9. She doesn't care if you like her friends. With most women, there's often this quiet pressure, likability, not just for herself, but for her friends, her lifestyle, her circle. It's subtle, but it's there. She hopes you get along, hopes you're impressed, hopes you approve. But a Sigma female? She doesn't carry that weight. She doesn't need you to nod at her choices, and that includes the people she keeps close. Her inner circle is earned, not built for presentation. These are people she trusts. People who've seen her quiet, her raw, her real. They're not props, and they're not temporary. They're not curated to make her more attractive to a man. They exist in her life with or without your approval. And that's exactly what makes her different. She won't give you the rundown of who's who. She won't explain their quirks or smooth over your discomfort. If one of her friends is bold or awkward or brutally honest, she's not going to apologize for it. She's not looking for your permission to keep them around. In fact, she finds it strange when someone even expects that level of influence over her life. Men notice this fast. She's not auditioning anyone. Not herself, not her people. Her world doesn't bend to make room for someone's preferences. If you fit, great. If you don't, she won't fight to keep you in it. That kind of loyalty, that refusal to sell out her tribe for the sake of a relationship, is rare. And men feel it, because most are used to being accommodated. They're used to being factored into every equation. But with her, it's different. You don't walk into her life and rearrange the furniture. You either respect the foundation or you stay outside. And that's the thing. She doesn't need you to like her people, but you will respect that they're not going anywhere. Number 10. She's feminine without being soft. She doesn't water herself down to be digestible. Her femininity isn't a performance, it's a presence, and it's nothing like the soft, palatable version most people are used to. She's not here to be cute. She's not here to be sweet. She's not playing into the version of woman that was designed to make others feel in control. Her energy is refined, but it's raw. It's powerful without being loud. She can hold a stare longer than most men can hold a thought, and still carry herself with elegance. Not the type that's fragile or decorative, but the kind that commands attention without ever asking for it. This is the kind of woman whose silence can feel more intense than another's shouting. She doesn't rush to smooth tension. She won't fake softness just to keep the peace. If something's wrong, she'll face it. If someone crosses a line, she'll draw a deeper one. She's not aggressive, but she's absolutely not passive. There's a weight to her presence, and men feel it instantly. And yet, she doesn't try to act like a man either. She's not out to prove she's one of the boys. She doesn't compete for dominance. She doesn't have to. Her strength is woven into how she carries herself, how she speaks, how she decides what deserves her time. She embraces being a woman, fully, but on her terms. What makes her feminine is not softness. It's self-possession. It's the calm way she owns her space, the quiet confidence in her boundaries, the way she refuses to beg for anything, not love, not attention, not acceptance. She doesn't fit into boxes. She breaks the idea that femininity needs to be fragile. And that contradiction, being feminine without ever being soft, is what makes her unforgettable, because she's not pretending. She is, and that's rare. Number 11. Her disinterest feels like a challenge. Most men walk through life assuming they're the center of attention. It's not always arrogance, it's conditioning. They're used to being pursued, praised, or at the very least noticed. But when they meet a Sigma female, that pattern shatters. She doesn't lean in. She doesn't react. She doesn't even flinch at the tactics that usually work. Her energy is clear. She's not impressed. And that quiet disinterest, it hits hard. She's not playing a game. She's not pretending not to care to create false tension. She genuinely doesn't view a man as her purpose or her prize. And men who are used to being pedestalized don't know what to do with that. Some get frustrated, others intrigued, but almost none can walk away unaffected. Her indifference forces a decision. Either step up and bring something real to the table or leave, because flattery won't earn her time. Money won't buy her interest. Status won't shake her focus. She's already filled the space in her life that others try to earn. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's looking for someone worthy to stand beside her. And if you don't measure up, she won't waste time pretending you do. That standard, that refusal to respond just to feed egos, flips the script. Suddenly, she becomes the prize. Not because she's trying to be chased, but because she's simply not trying at all. And that alone can spark obsession. She doesn't have to say much. Her silence, her lack of reaction, her refusal to be pulled into performance, that's what draws attention. Because it makes men ask the question they rarely have to ask. Why doesn't she want me? And when that question lingers long enough, it becomes a challenge. Not one she offers, but one they create in their own minds. Either way, they can't ignore her. In final words, real power is quiet. It does not scream for attention, it simply is. There's a reason men instantly notice Sigma females, and it has nothing to do with what's loud or obvious. It's because she carries a rare kind of presence, one that doesn't chase approval, one that doesn't bend to be liked, and most of all, one that doesn't explain itself just to make others comfortable. If you're a Sigma female, understand this. You don't need to prove your worth by being seen. You're already felt. The way you carry yourself, the stillness you stand in, the sharpness in your gaze, it all speaks before you do. And it speaks the truth. That you are whole, that you are rooted, that you do not belong to anyone's expectations. Men notice because your energy is different. You're not trying to impress them. You're not shrinking yourself or stretching your personality to become more acceptable. You're simply being, fully, quietly, unshakably. That's not just attractive, it's rare. Never doubt the power in being a mystery no one can solve. Never feel pressured to soften your edges just because they make people uncomfortable. Your boundaries, your silence, your refusal to be molded, that's your strength. Keep building your life like it's your own kingdom. Not everyone will get it, and that's the point. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. And the few who do understand you, they'll never forget you. Because being a Sigma female isn't about resisting the world, it's about refusing to be edited by it.